Hello, everybody. It's Saturday. I had it on this screen. He knew when I hit start and was like, let me just come over here and my rightful place on the stream. He knows. He somehow just knows. Anyway, hope y'all are doing well. Welcome on back to the stream. It is Saturday, and we're starting a little bit later than normal. And well, not super late. It's like within the boundaries of acceptable start time. But later than I was shooting for, and it's because we had a lot of stuff to do today. I had a lot of cleaning to do. It's Thanksgiving coming up soon. So I did a lot of cleaning because there's, we might have company over in a few days and want to make sure it looks nice. So a lot of cleaning. I'm so tired. I wasn't even sure if I was gonna there was a point about 2-3 hours ago I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. What if I just took the day off? And I'm like, I'd like to at least do something short, even if we can't make it all the way through the investigations, because I know the initial investigation can take quite a bit of time. So yeah, I was like, maybe we'll just give it a go. We'll get as far as we can until I get absolutely knackered, and then we'll just pick it up next week. It is the final case. Hello, 21 Snakes. How's it going? Hope your weekend is going well. The cat. He knows always, every time, exactly when we're starting. Even if I use nowhere to be found before I start the stream, he just appears as soon as I have everything ready. And then I actually hit start stream. He just shows up. This cat right here, Momo. He knows. He's like, I am the internet cat. I belong here. Yes. Anyway, case 5. We're gonna start it. We're gonna give it a go. We're gonna get as far as we can. We're gonna see where it takes us. Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Ooh. Like a partial title drop right there, because this is the name of this game is Resolve. It's all trial. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Seems like it's gonna be a very long trial. 3rd of November, 9:14 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. So, time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. Sorry, I had to do a quick volume adjustment right there. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Mrs. Sato. Okay there? Mrs. Sato?
What?
Why did she throw us?
Oh no, well, what's the matter, Mr. Naruhodo?
You threw me. Nothing? I was just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but you threw me. What gives? What's the deal?
I'm so sorry. Of course, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down.
Would you mind helping me to my feet then?
Oh dear, I'm really very sorry.
Alright, something's up with Susato, because she usually doesn't just throw us for no reason. Well, in her mind. Susato-san isn't her usual self at all. But that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just- oh yeah, she just found out that her father's a partner of the world-famous detective. Not to mention... potentially... Iris's father, according to what Mr. Sholmes has told us so far, but has been known to lie. So we'll see how that plays out.
Good morning, sir.
What? Who are you calling sir? Oh, right, our client. Hi, Van Zeeks. Hello, Lord Van Zeeks. That's right, this case is about him. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. Really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday.
Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo.
Good point. Reaper? Suppose in hindsight, shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to this.
But you're not to blame. But you're not to blame for that at all, Lord Van Zeeks.
It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. Ah, okay. And having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yeah, we've heard that story too. And I lost him. Felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. So, some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public.
It was obviously extremely important to you, Lord Clint Van Zeeks.
Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone else's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. Never thought I'd say this. I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. Can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Took you long enough. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh, hi, Iris. Oh, Iris, when did you get here?
Oh! I brought you one of my special blends. Harley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head.
Thank you.
Oh,
Surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris.
Oh?
Sort of subdued, I suppose.
I am not.
What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. He's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Sis' laboratory.
Alright then, good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying?
I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready? For what?
Oh yeah. Would you take this?
What is that? A bunny Herlock Sholmes, it looks like? Is that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack?
Yeah, it's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once.
It is Herlock, okay. A Hurley? Looks more like a Harley to me.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in trial today, And just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
What? Pull his ears? What?
That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it.
Iris's lucky charm, a little doll of Mr. Sholmes in hair form. I've been told to tug its ears if I run out of options in the trial today. Is there something inside this doll that I should know about? Seems like there's gonna be something inside that doll that I should know about, but we'll see what happens.
I think we'll need his luck.
I just sneaked a peek inside that courtroom.
And it seemed very different to normal.
Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean?
What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning. Oh, I see.
Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think, Mrs. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their room last night at all.
Hey.
Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean.
Huh, okay. Judge Jigoku too? What's he up to?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Well, we know that Professor Mikotoba is probably with Herlock somewhere, doing God knows what. A little concerned about what Judge Jigoku's up to, though. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once.
Good luck then, Runo. Good luck, Susie.
Yes, thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It's very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Okay.
Must go inside now, Lord Van Zeeks.
Lord Van Zeeks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today, I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now, I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. All been leading up to this one day. This one trial. This one final reckoning. I'm concerned by how long this trial is going to be because it's an entire case. 3rd of November, 9:30 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Nice boots, Van Zeeks. Feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. Our cold stare is piercing me like knives from all sides today.
Mr. Naruhodo, look!
What? What'd you do with the judge? What did you do with the nice old man? Lord Strongheart! Cosmo must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that the prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting the influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial. And one over which I, Male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. Why do you have a unicorn staff? The Six Jurors' Flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Okay. Is that your gavel? We're gonna break the horn off that unicorn by the end of this? In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Beric Van Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice, Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work, when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinner's. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial case of Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. Prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. He confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on the 31st of October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. The official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday. That the time of death was 5 p.m. on the 1st of November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, This is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Dr. Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. Conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Well, I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities. What are you doing, child? Sweet baby boy, calm down, sit down. Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. Did they now? I think we should begin by presenting... Sorry I wasn't petting you, jeez. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Oh, Gina, hello. State your name and occupation for the court.
Dr. Gina Lestrade reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard.
Self-conferring, but never mind. Gina? Again?
What's your problem, Odo? What's with that? Gina? Again? Look, hey? Boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did.
Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean?
Got me out the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina.
Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes, no. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face, Lord Strongheart knew. So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report.
Coming right up, sir.
Alright, the victim's movements.
All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. A little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw the repo at the place too.
Smuggled goods?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco, cheese, spices, medicines. Goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at irregular black markets that take place in the capital. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets. It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London Gentlemen's Club. And on the day in question, The accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. Man Seeks, why were you at a gentleman's club?
That can't be. We haven't heard anything about any of this.
Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Beric Van Zeeks, was present. That would be very significant testimony then.
Bye, Momo. Oh my, but... Lord Van Zeeks has made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Again, what the... I swear, by the end of this, we're gonna break the horn off of that unicorn. Very well, then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination. Alright, here we go. Press everything. All the arts detectives are supposed to follow orders. Yep. So, you follow orders, do you, Gina?
No, not me. I'm above all that, see?
Oh.
Boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips or go and give Toby his grub. That kind of thing.
So, errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
But she's the one who found the notebook, apparently. So you went through Inspector Gregson's things?
Yup, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation.
I'm sure your superiors will be delighted that you're taking the initiative.
Well, I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out into the street.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
Got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and her trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby. We found it in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom.
That's impressive.
Well, then I went to hide myself where no one could find me, so I could have a butcher's at what was written. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd have turfed me straight out into the street. I've getting it in now, though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would never have been found.
He's looking into smuggled goods. Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yup. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember. As
I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yeah, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary.
What?
It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could, too. I've got this reading game buttoned up right now. Can't I show you what... Can't I show you what I can do? Go on, what's the arm?
The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? Insist. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. Cosma? No question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. But the defense requires to know the club's name, and the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Alright. Okay.
Right then. I get to show off my reading skills. Apparently the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called the Bruce.
A gross, huh? Professor Mikotoba has wonderful handwriting, doesn't he? This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Is it just me, or does that make me sound extremely untrustworthy?
I do wish he'd at least call you a nice young man.
I'm really not sure that would help. Blackbird Line.
Oh, looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. Yes, that's gross. First class cabin 001. Yokohama departure 11th of September. London arrival the 1st of November.
Ah, that's the boat Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it?
Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover.
Interesting. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Burdia. It seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary.
And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone?
Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo?
Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Written on the back of a ticket for a passage on a steamship. Okay, here's the thing. So this... It says that before arriving on the 1st, it was in France for a night. And we know that he, Gregson, he had a passport for France the day before his body was discovered, so he was probably going to meet up with the steamship for some reason. Police business. Port of Dunkirk, France, exactly. Applicant and one additional person. Who is he going with? Okay, all right. Well, we gotta press everything first, right? Hold it! Gross. What sort of a club is that?
I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing, but I am kinda curious.
They're not places where foreign students like you would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently?
I tell you what, me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover.
Would you, though?
I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there.
I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon.
Says the even lower ranking detective. Big job. Hold it!
So how would Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case? That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so... And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, that's what I was asking myself, because, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes. Anyway, the point is, something went on in that club, no question. Can't say that for certain, though, surely? There's witnesses that saw him there. Lord Van Zeeks was at the club. He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. Looks like there's no disputing that he was there then. Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered that the inspector's secret notebook led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there? None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club. Boy! Why aren't you asking Inspector Lestrade here, eh? So that's all I've got to work with. Tina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? I really don't know what to make of all this. Lord Van Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson. But he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. I don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you? That's not the only way to explain this. Oh! Everything Lord Van Zeeks has told us is true. There must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere. You mean, there are details we've yet to uncover? Exactly. Clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. Alright. Well, all we can do is try it, right? Save first. Present. And we're gonna try this out. Here goes nothing.
Objection!
I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? You know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? I don't know. But police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean, that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on the 31st of October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. It wasn't a gentleman's club. Then what was it? A steamship. Think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. The stark-suited young man is not the least bit untrustworthy. No, turn it around, please. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Ah, this would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes? PSS Gross.
Objection!
So, there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, the flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. Ship arrived at Port of Dover on the 1st of November. Ah. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st of October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain, totally okay, substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. The unicorn thing is still weird. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. His passport. Here you go. Have fun with that. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st of October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. Does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. Could possibly have taken the victim there. I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? Are you... The implication that he knows about it? Like, what? You mean you knew about this? I don't... Okay. If he knew about all this shit, like, what I never understand is, like, why do we go through the trouble of, like, saying things that he knows is untrue because he has all this other evidence or, like, knows about this other information, but he's still gonna, like, push something that he knows is probably not true? Like, why not just skip all that and, like, go straight for the real thing and, like, try to catch... I don't know. I guess that's what the whole point of what we're doing right here is to try to find the truth and push the fact that the truth is more important than, you know, like, whatever ulterior motives people have. The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealing at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations. The line the prosecution has been asked to follow. Okay, so it's corruption then. Got it. Alright, never mind, that answers my question. It's one of those things where it's like streamer, just like chill for like 2 minutes and keep going. Not the answer to my question. Personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Osogi? Courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question? Carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Why Dunkirk? Order! Order! What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper when he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout. Hill. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, truth is the opposite of that. What? Oh, he knows what we know. That he was involved in the multi-entity that is the Reaper. Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was obviously an assassination. I don't think he's the killer. I think he's just the info gatherer, the scout. Informant. Eric Van Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson?
What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that.
And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense.
No, it can't be.
We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Did. Even so, no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Eric Van Zieks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Gross on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. So funny! You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board that ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Gross that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. That's a good proposal of an idea. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. Talking about what detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade?
What?
The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. Describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey.
You're lying! Even if all them buggers what got taken out had it coming. Boss, weren't the Reaper.
Gina? No question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. He may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard the rumors.
I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then, testify again. Representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't...
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Damn. Alright. Reaper's notebook.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was our 31st of October. It said grouse to the place on that date and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. So hard for her. Can't deny it now, surely. Yonosuke Naruhodo. What can't I deny? Notebook contained the name of the final mark, and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known was working with the Reaper. Okay. I do agree with that part, I just don't agree with the part where Van Zieks is the Reaper. Who else do we have here? Who are our people in this case? Who else could be the Reaper? Strongheart's a pretty good contender here for that. Because it does benefit him to have the Reaper around. Good friends with Mikotoba. Hayden was definitely involved with the professor escaping. She seems like she's probably involved somehow too. Okay, I don't know. We'll see. Still crafting a theory here. So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the gross on the 31st of October.
Oh, how do you read this then?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
That ain't the problem, alright, Odo? A funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read.
That's somebody from overseas? Judge Jigoku. Right? Because wasn't he also tried for something? Yeah, he's acquitted. No, he acquitted us. But he also got... Yeah, he was tried in court and then they were shipped off.
Let me have a bash at it. Set Ishiro? Is it? Yeah, Seishiro. Igokyu. Maybe?
What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku?
That's Judge Jigoku.
Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right. But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday here in London. But I know for a fact that the man has been assassinated. Exactly, that's kind of playing into Kazuma's theory that the assassination attempt failed. Because he was killed. Okay, well, but then that definitely means that it wasn't Van Zieks who killed him, because Van Zieks was spotted at the Gross Club. So are we gonna have to switch defendants here, or are we still gonna be also trying to defend Van Zieks as being the Reaper for all the other murders? Like the person in charge of killing all those people. This is getting sticky. This is getting real complicated here.
As I said, the Reaper failed.
Oh.
Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake. So he killed the inspector. Personally.
I don't know, this part's a stretch.
The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Beric Van Zeeks.
It's an undeniably logical argument. I don't agree. Asuma, you planned for this trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Hi, buddy. Your hallowed boot. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice, whilst I stand accused of murder. Hi there, Lord Van Zeeks.
The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock.
Yeah, his leg with his hallowed boot on it, and while he's holding his hallowed chalice. They were certainly not very strict on security. They're just like letting him keep like bringing in and having access to his bottles of wine and his chalices. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. There is one thing I can say unequivocally. Stop wasting those! That girl is no detective.
What? No, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the... In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony.
What did you say? Naruhodo, this is our chance.
My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Why a unicorn? Are you trying to say that you feel yourself to be special and privileged? Very well, I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. Gotta slap himself. At once, my lord. A Reaper's Notebook. And it's got a load of stuff about what the Reaper's been up to. In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper.
Not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? Could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what he found.
If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes. And those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What are you on about?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. Simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization, with you at its head. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book, knew the location. You knew it said gross? Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate. Alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you.
Of course, the inspector was not there.
Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France.
As shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk.
Very well then. Back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook. Fine. Nothing wrong, Mr. Naruhodo. Seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago.
That Cosma knew exactly where we found the passport, even though we hadn't talked about it? Yeah. I have a suspicion, a sneaking suspicion, that he's the one who planted it there for us to find in the first place. Oh, no. It's alright. Overthinking this, aren't I? And then all that stuff that was in the notebook. Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular?
Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up.
What other name was that? Was it Asashin?
The one I told you yesterday. Same name written over and over again.
You mean Asashin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or someone, isn't she?
No, not quite so much that. Were you even listening yesterday? Asashin, the assassin.
What? Like, a killer, you mean?
Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. Investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. The person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying. If that's true, the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Then perhaps what it said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been... Clearly, the assassin was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life. Gina, can you confirm that against the final entry that listed Grouse and Seishiro Jigoku? What name was written?
Oh, well, that's the only entry. They didn't have a name next to it as it appears.
Oh, what if Gregson was not there? No, but Jigoku was entering the country legally, so he wouldn't need to get snuck around with Gregson, unless Gregson needed him to come to get to London earlier that day for some reason. Do something. Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know yet. What?
We just had like a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating.
Nameless assassin? Oh no, Jigoku's gotta be involved somehow. Maybe Jigoku was supposed to report what happened with Giselle Brett, aka Asashin. And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku?
That's what it said. Funny name if you ask me. I thought your name was odd.
Don't be rude. So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago. Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. Asashin, an assassin? Can't believe it. What a shocker. Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. Yeah, so Strongheart is involved with the Reaper organization, possibly even the leader of it. It wouldn't make sense to kill Jigoku, but perhaps to go meet up with him to get information on what happened in Japan because they lost their assassin. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago, after that fateful case.
Precisely. In the aftermath of the professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. The mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the moon and years got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
What about him being a criminal that got away? Hold it! Right, she did say that. Damn, there's a lot to unpack here. What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jigoku's no criminal.
Well, don't ask me, I don't know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course, you're right. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took the stand to testify. He got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. That's just for destruction of property. That's not a reason to kill a man. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, which he was charged. Oh, right, there, that part. Yeah, okay. For slandering the British Empire. Okay, but, like, also fucked up reason to kill somebody, right? Just talking shit. They didn't actually do anything. It was a pitiful situation, yes. Forgotten all about it. But I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. Did! Considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. He was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. There you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see how vindictive the Reaper is. Vegeta's fine. And Natsuma's fine. Ah, that's absurd to take someone's life for that. Petty. Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly, the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But...
Why? I've had just enough about enough of this.
Huh?
All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people is cobblers. Come on, Odo.
Yeah? What?
saying nothing. Why ain't you yelling out objection or something? What? You gotta find a flaw, you do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You gotta work out who it is. Please. For the boss.
You know, I hate to break it for you, but he actually was probably involved. That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. Fucked up, man. Give her a chance. It takes time. This shit don't happen overnight. This trial is over. You will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Hey! That clear? I hope it's you. I hope you're the true head of the Reaper organization so I can take you down.
I've had it with a lot of ya. His lies every bleeding place you look in this world, innit? Well, I've had enough.
So have I. After that little speech at Gina's, I made up my mind.
What, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, Jean.
Not gonna let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears.
Hold it!
Still pressing everything. I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency?
Really, Odo?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... the fact that he knew where I got the passport even though we hadn't said it yet. That's what I'm kind of leaning on. Alright, let's try it.
Take that!
By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me. There's some attempt at filibustering counsel. Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip. Shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, counsel, go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi has said? Was removed from the scene and recovered by Gina. Couldn't have known that we got the passport out of this.
Take that!
This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. Metal construction, is it? Certainly very heavy. What's this? Bloodstain? And a relatively fresh one, too.
What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips?
No, it's his blood. I'm sorry, Gina. Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. Jess, the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. No mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk.
Hoping to sell it. But I found it! Me, with my nose for trouble!
Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. What if Gregson was traveling with Kazuma? The passport was also for one other person. And they made up with some fucked up shit that's happening here. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma. As at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On the 31st of October, where exactly were you? There is a mysterious slash mark on the trunk. It'd be very hard to make. They need katanas. Port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Gross. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... Bro, what did you do? I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it'd only have been for one purpose.
Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you don't think...
Come on, Ryunosuke. You know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom, hard evidence. Look at this. Seeing this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind.
Hush! The metal chest like this time's been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
How it happened. Dark stain here, do you think?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood.
I knew you were gonna say that. That presumably means...
This was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. Most logical conclusion, yes.
I think Gina's been carrying this around with her. You didn't know any better? I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Have a look inside. That's the passport. Look, there's something inside. It's the passport conversation again that we just did. Yep, we already have this. Traveling overseas, going abroad. On the 31st, one day before the incident. Yep. Yep, we've already established all this. Needed to clear it to make sure. Gash is suspicious. One additional person. Everything would be given to... Oh yeah, we didn't look at this yet. Little doll of Mr. Sholmes.
Charming little rabbity version of Mr. Sholmes. Suppose this is how Iris sees him. All right, Mr. Naruhodo. Your eyes are veritably boring into the poor doll's ears.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might right now?
Sure that we'll find out when the time is right. For a proper gentleman, you really must learn stoic patience.
I want to know! We'll wait. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So, as it stands, proved nothing. Cosma, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector? He was there with Gregson? There's a clue that you've overlooked. A secret that the trunk. A secret that trunk can tell us. Can't be sure at this point. I'll need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm gonna be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing. But nevertheless, we must test it. 1 second, gotta pour me some more tea. Still nice and warm. Lovely. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. Where is the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? Alright, we're gonna try this gash first. Oops, that was the wrong button. Have we seen the huge gash? I didn't mean to track that. I did not mean to click that again. Hit the wrong button. Suitable force. How did it happen?
Got it!
This is your proof? What do you say to that, Prosecutor Asogi? Personally, I think tying the defense counsel to the inspector's trunk and tossing into the sea would be more helpful. Is it the passport, maybe? That way, London's courtrooms will be safe from his destructive accusations.
I believe that was a rather long-winded way of telling you
that you're wrong. Yeah. Thanks for the penalty. Look! Can't be drowned in the sea yet. I was hoping never to let that happen, funnily enough. I'm like, there's a couple things we could go with depending on how they want us to logic this. So this passport is for the day before Gregson's body was found. He needed this documentation for his trip to France, and when it says permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. I believe it was you, Cosma. This dark stain. Probably the blood, yep. Was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. That Gina's been carrying around, yeah. Is it the passport?
Got it!
Your proof? No, it's not the passport. What is... Do they want us to test the blood then? What else would it be? Well, there's so much you could do with the case. Is there proof that would see anything else on here even when we opened it? I mean, this is the last thing I can try.
Got it!
No? Yeah, it's not that either. I don't think there's anything on here though. But it wants me to pick something. Like, what can I do? Oh shit. Is that a piece of katana? See that? There's something stuck on the side of the trunk there. It's glinting.
Looks like a fragment of metal of some sort.
I can't believe I missed this.
But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it.
Don't cut yourself. You'd better leave it, I think.
Got it!
Found it. There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here. Like the tip of a blade.
A blade?
Cosma, slung around your waist as ever today. The esteemed blade Kadama. Of course it is. Draw it here in this courtroom. For all to see. Besides caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Sogi like a hawk.
That won't be necessary. Oh no!
The tip is broken. The fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword. The question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Cosma Sogi? Expertly done, Ryunosuke. It's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Sogi? Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. What? You were gonna kill Judge Shigoku? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from the notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Shigoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes. And I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk. But I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never gonna do it.
Can believe Kazuma-sama.
Sure.
Well, Judge Shigoku arrived safely in London the following day.
On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Gross and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan.
Judge Shigoku's cabin?
Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. Spent that night at a boarding house in the town. Returned to England the following morning. Hold on! You didn't explain how your katana got into his trunk. What happened? Boarding house in Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then, what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin. The mark was spared. Sure, it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. Met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder.
Objection!
But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? That's what I'm saying! I don't need to answer that. Yes, you do! Your sword is in the trunk of a man who was dead. That's very suspicious. Hey, Momo. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to shout next to you. The victim was killed by a gunshot. Small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case, but it does mean that you tried to attack him, clearly. He reached out and touched me. There's a cat touching my arm right now. It's very cute. Hold on. Very distracted. Hi. And boy. Cat, I've lost the use of my right arm. It's the cat's now. He's holding on to it. He's like, this is mine. Okay, we don't need two hands to play this game. And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. Oh. Release me. He's busy taking a bath now. Alright, the great sword Kadama, the illustrious blade passed down through the generations of the Asogi clan. My sword's tip has a small piece missing. Must take immediate action now. Verify whether Seishido Jigoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? Oh yeah, because we don't know where he is. Hold on, I need to look at this. Kadama, the great blade. Such a thing of beauty. I want to gaze on it for hours. Tip of the great sword. Broken. Such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Kadama's sobs. Kazuma must have really taken a swing for that to happen. Think, is this possibly a fake? I doubt it. What else to look at other than the fact that the tip's missing? I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours? Only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Shigoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order! Order in the court! Order! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. The man can't be located within half an hour. We will have to assume the worst. Oh no, not Judge Shigoku. No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except that is for the Reaper wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I have to agree. Sir Naruhodo, for the defense's sake. My lord? I sincerely hope we are successful. We're unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes. You will face grave difficulties. Ah! Court is adjourned for 30 minutes.
Some, assassin. As though I'm in a nightmare.
Hardly believe it either, but on the other hand, Ozma isn't in the habit of making up stories.
Terrible sense of foreboding. Something awful has happened to Judge Shigoku. So things will only spiral further and further out of control.
I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering toward a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Fortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do now. We're out of options.
Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear.
Oh, you want me to pull the rabbit now? Of course. The little Mr. Shomes doll that Iris gave us.
For some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, and just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
You want me to rip his head off? Because I'm gonna end up doing that. Perhaps now's the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? Pull it, yeah. Let's do it. Goes then. Here goes then. I'm gonna do it.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo.
No looking back. Heave! Ow!
Scream! Sounded like Mr. Shomes.
Mr. Shomes, where are you? Here, my dear fellow, here! It's the felt doll talking? Is this a voodoo doll? The fuck?
Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can.
Alright then, I'll pull all my strength, put all my strength into it. Heave! Oh! One robot controls the others, I see. Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off. Mr. Shomes! Oh, sorry.
Mr. Shomes, where are you?
Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Gross. The SS Gross? You're gonna investigate for me? Yo, thanks. We left Dover last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We're currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the streets of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time. So, you mean you'd already worked it out? The steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name? Sherlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective! Sometimes gets things wrong, but that's okay. You have your partner there to help sort you out now. Recited to perfection. Well done.
But genius, Mr. Shomes. That's the only word for it.
I'm not the one pulling on the ears. I think that's probably her. Ow, 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 ow. Mrs. Sato, gently with the genius's ear, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry.
I may, Shomes. Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. May remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Gross. At Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions out of my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
If we're unable to present any new leads, then I'm afraid to say.
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful. Till later, then. Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first. This poor ear. Ow, 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 ow! I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operated in that way in the first place, Sholmes? Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine. Looks like he's having a time there. I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes. We have but half that now before the grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this... Sorry, whoop, wrong one. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? What does that say on your arm there? Does that say Holmes? On your arm there. Does that say Holmes? Question really ought to be, who are you? Nope, says Sholmes. That's what I meant. It says Sholmes. Not recognize world-traveling great sailor? Skin Stroganoff when you see? Great detective? Ha! I don't think so. You see that, Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo that says Sholmes? I must say, while such an adoration is flattering, naturally it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave! Now! Distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. Yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. Sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. No one with this name on board. We know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Ah, you mean Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk. Said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? Oh, Seishiro's realized that we're after him, has he? His cabin is the one behind you. Would like to investigate, please? No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikotoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse that he leaves the area. Right there. Right fucking there! Doesn't great detective see? But even sailors have ears, both left and right. Curses! The plan is ruined! You have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. If I am not here, you cannot get inside. Godoba? Sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock? In a mere 5 seconds. If you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend? Your typically accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? Fucked up. I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man. So, the game's afoot. Yo! This must be a mousetrap, I think. Perhaps I could distract the crewman's attention with this somehow? Oh, I think not. Would never work, surely. Concoct another distraction. I mean, this seems pretty good. It appeared to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were a ring. Whole crew would know about it. Gonna make some mischief. Goes then. Pardon me in advance. You! What are you doing? We were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on down there? Seaman Stroganoff, report at once. Sorry, sir, nothing to report. It was just a stupid trick. No, not by me, by world famous... No, as I told you! Now, Sholmes, now! Done! Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, don't stand there gawping in my billions, Miko Doba. In we go! Oh, yes. Of November, SS Gross, first class cabin, number 2. Gracious. It appears that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Clothes on the floor there. They're Seishido's without question. Well, it seems we're just a little too late. Yes, by about 2 hours. Still, once we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. May well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here. That burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes. Indeed he may. Makes us all the more thrilling. Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it... Something wrong, Sholmes? Suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikotoba, ice. With opulence the first-class passengers enjoy. Drinks. If he left 2 hours ago, this should all be melted. He's probably still here. Generally, one of the best parts of any Ace Attorney game. This is pretty fun, I have to admit. Pardon? Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think? Ooh, that's a good place to hide the body. Well, it is a luxury liner after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Suddenly, Mikodoma? Sight of you is making my mouth water. I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. Very sizable trunk indeed. Seishido is partial to all things large. A rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he'd left that behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now, the situation will be quite different, though. not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. I'm not in enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. Alright, so we need a 7-digit combination, is what I heard. That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. Overcoat, shirts, a dressing gown. Momohiki wore trousers, a tanzan robe, a haramaki, waistband, clearly the clothing of a Japanese man. And clearly Japanese men are unaccustomed to the culture of the wardrobe. Looks to me as if they've been thrown in a heap like that in something of a hurry. Indeed, you could help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps? Sure, you made mention of packing too few. I'd very likely drown in one of Seishiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy any extras I need, I think. Plenty of reading material to keep passengers occupied on long sea voyages. Found the mixture of classic literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say. Whoever stocked this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of The Adventure of Sherlock Sholmes, my dear fellows! I'm afraid it's just me, but no, you're quite all right. Quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible. To leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me. You're a true missionary for the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you? These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them, probably just my imagination. About the fact that they're not straight on the wall, does that strike you? You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. Trifle. Know what I always say, Mikotoba? There's nothing important about trifles. Probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. I see the thing in the pipe, I'm just looking at other stuff first. This is the waste paper basket, look. Still rubbish inside. Indeed? Then let us pry. Discovered recently, I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. I sincerely only hope for your work. Or hope only for your work, yeah. Ah. Yeah, we have notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London, then. I was still aboard myself. Evacuation drill notice, 31st of October. No, I'm still reading that! Yes, there's an evacuation drill, I remember now. Our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. But it's a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Oh, okay, gonna give it to us. A notice about a practice evacuation to be carried out by the crew of the SS Gross the night before the ship arrived in Dover. Found in Judge Shigoku's cabin. What is this? Speaking tube here, look. Oh, it's been stoppered with some cloth. The voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Oh, indeed, so the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or could be to prevent snakes from entering. It's really becoming a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? Gotta look in the wardrobe. According to the report it was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe. Indeed he was, and it was of similar size to this one. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Sholmes? Surely you can just tell me what you said. Well, I added some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. No, not gonna let us open it? Alright, fine. Alrighty, I think we're done with this side, I wanna say. Oh! The notice should be over here, that's right. All the doors on this vessel have locks, I believe. Wise idea. You never know where and when criminals may strike. Of course, to the great detective Sherlock Holmes, lock, bolt, or shirt button, it makes no difference. All are unfastened with equal ease. May you go on. You sound rather more like a great thief than a great detective. My dear Mikatoba, as long as there is greatness, I am quite satisfied. Of course you are. Well, slightly different color just here. Do you see? Indeed. What you have observed arises with it when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief? There is a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. May very well be the elusive thief who has been plaguing France's galleries of late. I think perhaps we should focus our attentions elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? The outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. You're still here? Ah, Able Seaman Stroganoff. Hello again. Beginning to think you'd never materialize. You are waiting for me? Of course! I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you played before. Or innocent chicken. It is all your fault! Ship is leaving port soon. Get off, now! Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow, but first, there's something that must be done. Talking about? Why, naturally. Great deduction. The debunking of your deceit and the burying of the truth. Kakoi? Afraid I see through your lies. One thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. Ah! For another, my dear Seaman Stroganoff. You know exactly where the man is even as we speak, don't you? How can you? Good gracious, Sholmes, you mean you've worked it out? All of it? He's gonna need some help. Really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance? Inimitable logic and reasoning? Or dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning? It would please me more. What is this? I have but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now. Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago. Ah, that is what I said. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. See, there was something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. What? Ah, yes, of course. I see you've noted it too, Mikotoba, then please do take the lead. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotoba. Been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now, all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. As I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe and the answers become clear. So, impress me. Think I can manage that? Glass containing ice.
Take that!
That should be melted. He taps? Sato, you never told me your dad was a tap dancer. He's quite sprightly. Perhaps he should have cleared away that glass, huh? I'm curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. It appeared that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. This well-chilled glass in hand. Mind off the refreshments, Sholmes. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? But why would Seishiro run from us? Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Gross are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? Ah, that's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door, and Seishiro was... yes. 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected. For you see, there were traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. But traces... I know nothing about this! Ah, this is news to you too, is it, Mr. Stroganoff? Holmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here. That's the key to this, Mikotoba. Remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. Must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikotoba. Oh, quite, but life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow. But you have the floor, my dear fellow. I mean, this is really out of place. Remnants of the dark deed that took place in here. See, and this? Oh, maybe the speaking tube? What's rather awkwardly hiding the traces of a crime? I'm gonna go with this.
Take that!
Like, why is this over here? It's weird. The dancing is amazing! I love the dancing. The rules of passage in this frame here, they're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded, that frame was originally over here. Shape and size are a perfect match. Ah, you're right. When did frame move? Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability. I just remembered something. Wasn't the brother something reminiscent of beef stroganoff, and then now this guy is chicken stroganoff? Thank you, Capcom. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikotoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? Yes, please do. I need to see what's behind it. A bullet hole, huh? That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see. The projectile has been removed. Clearly, the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant. Don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern Stranger? Oh, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. Sure, we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by... Really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes. Yeah, I don't know either. My dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle. Quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it. I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides. Well, I can certainly do that. I guess we'll look at everything. Scarf. Oh, look at that money! Wad of banknotes.
Take that!
The dancing. Almost too obvious for words. Quite. The universal language of the world. Money. I'd wager that the Eastern fellow in question... Seishiro Jigoku, yes? Gah! So, I presume you realize what this means? There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. The way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But... Believe you know, Mr. Stroganoff? You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time. He's looking at the trunk. As always, Mikotoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally. Yes, I think you're onto something there, Sholmes. Found the chink in this burly fellow's armor. We need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. Slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible. Hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. Man's turned his entire head. Not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. Shall let your dapping toes decide, my dear fellow. I like how they talk about the tapping. Alright, he's in the trunk.
Take that!
Does Sato know about this? It's hilarious. Turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Truth is, Seishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time, and is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk. Still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. Imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible. But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't even know the 7-digit code. Combination lock can't be opened from the inside. Can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore... Sholmes upside down is the combination for the lock. There must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. short before Jigoku had hid himself inside that trunk. Must have told somebody the 7-digit number for that lock. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganoff. Alright, what is it? 5631045. No, I know nothing about combination code. Don't move a muscle, my good seaman. Huh? Now, Mikotoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? How on earth do you expect me? The 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have little time. Oh my god, I gotta do it backwards. Hold on. Gomes. That was a 3. No, hold on. No, this was a 6. Wait, no? There's no 6? Uh-oh. I thought for sure that was gonna be a 6. The E he had. Oh, review scene. Cool. Oh, it's a 2! My bad. I'm like, what a funky looking 2. That was a 1. 0.
Take that!
Click. I did it! It's open! Had to meddle, didn't you? You okay in there? Well, Eugene, you found me now. Hey, Shido. I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manner, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. Devil is in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion. Made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me as well. An honor. Well, Seishiro, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. Reaper the Bailey? Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it? Afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now. I really ought to have confided in you. Somewhat surprising, I must say. Oh, it's somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. More than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. Cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket. Here I am. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in the cabin. You'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? Prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Eugene, nothing to say to you.
Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off on its onward voyage and not to make port again until Italy.
Afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once. No jurisdiction over my movements. Have this, Seishiro. Take it. Is it? Subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from British courts would be. Came prepared then, Eugene. Come on, let's go.
One moment.
Chomes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk?
Found this rather fascinating trinket.
That? Seishiro. I can't help you, I'm afraid. A small component from something. What? I have no idea. Ah. Look on his face, I think he generally doesn't know.
Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France.
Small machine part that Mr. Sholmes found in Judge Jigoku's cabin on the SS Gross. Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant.
November, 12:10 p.m. in the Old Bailey courtroom.
It was very surprising they didn't to be continue any of that. I think we need to save though. But alright. Kazuma Sogi. Know you. I know you wouldn't lie, but still, there's no doubt. Holding something back. No more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. Sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion. The Reaper has already done the deed. We know he's alive, though. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. Prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Objection.
No, the trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. Court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. There can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness from whom the court is yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible.
The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow.
Who on earth is this crucial witness? Seishiro Jigoku, the very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jigoku, you found him. I got people too, Kazuma. But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku was already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during the recess at the port of Dunkirk. thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions. Herlock Sholmes! Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death, because along with Prosecutor Asogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Gross on the 31st of October. Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move adjudication at this point. Prosecution concurs. Court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered. In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side? No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We live to fight another day. Skin of our teeth. As always, it's very typical. Ah, there's our to be continued. That checks out. We need time for Judge Jigoku to get back over here because they're currently in... No, it's still going. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to keep going, but also I did a lot of stuff today. Since Thanksgiving's coming up, we had to do like an extensive. Okay. Is now an okay point to stop with the intention of finishing next week? We good with that, chat? Or would you think, or is this going to be like a quick thing? Yeah? Okay. It was like short, which I really highly doubt that then we could continue a bit, but it's like I feel like it's going to be another couple. And I should be well rested by then. So we have a nice 4-day weekend. All right, so we're gonna stop here for the week, and then we'll finish off the giving. It'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun. Okay. Nope, stop that. Stop. Stop. We're not continuing. Quit it. Game, please work with me here. Thank you. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Hey, Skunk, how's it going? You were in Neoneko stream and you was talking about this game and they told me that I was streaming it. Oh, yeah, but I'm about to stop for right now. Yeah. It's been a while since you played yourself, so you're not exactly sure how much is left. Knowing this game, it's probably gonna be a bit. Hey, Skunk, thank you so much for the follow. Much appreciated. Yeah, we are stopping here for the evening. I'm kind of tired because we Neoneko and I and Darjeeling, we like deep clean, well, not deep clean, but we like pretty thoroughly cleaned up the house because we're gonna have guests coming over for Thanksgiving. If you adore this game and you want to watch someone play it again, we're almost done. But if you want to watch any of the VoDs, they are on YouTube, and you can also find some of the more recent ones on Twitch. But yeah, YouTube link is down below in the About section. So yeah, you can see our whole playthrough. We've done pretty much the entire Ace Attorney series at this point, and this is the last game. Very excited. It's been a wild ride. 21 Snake can tell you, I'm sure. This series is amazing. Another game that's not officially in this series, but it's like heavily influenced. Different characters and all that, so it's a different universe, but like very much this vibe. So I'm considering doing that sometime in the future. I don't own it yet. Probably not going to buy it super soon, but next year we can try squeezing that in. Never gotten past Apollo Justice, but you did play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. You think you know what I'm talking about and you haven't played it yet either? Yeah, I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard like If you love the Ace Attorney series, exact same vibe. But with, like, magic and, like, more overt, like, yeah, there's some, like, weird shit going on. So, I'm very excited. I can't remember the name. I think it's, like, called, like, Tyrion Cuthbert or something like that. But it's the same thing where you're playing, like, it's the same style, too. You're a lawyer, you do investigations, you do trials. Yeah, we have a lovely boy. He's also very cute. He did an amazingly cute thing, and he took out one of my arms earlier because he just, like, reached out and touched me. Guess that arm's yours now. Very, very cute. But yeah, we're gonna be finishing off this game next week. That is the plan. We usually start around... I think the earliest I've ever started was, like, 2, but we usually try to start around, like... But today we started at 5, because I was... but yeah, that's the plan. Next week we're gonna finish this. I feel like it's gonna be long. Usually the last part of the game is always, like, super long, so it's probably gonna be like... Yeah, have a good night, Skunks the Punk. Thank you so much for the follow, and, you know, thanks for stopping by. I hope to see you here next... Alright. Actually, on that note, chat, let's see who's our friend that's streaming. Actually, I think it is just Neoneko, so maybe we'll go over there and join Skunk. So let's go over there. Whee! Alright. Hey, chat, thanks so much for joining us. You thought the whole case was the trial, but you think you said but it said investigation there. It's fine. That was technically still part of the trial. It was just like a tiny little bit that was not trial. Like half an hour in-game time even. Anyway, thank you again. 21 Snakes, Skunks the Punks, everyone who stopped by, lurkers, chatters, future VoD watchers. I appreciate you all. This series is amazing. I can't wait to how it all wraps up tidily. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Same-ish time, same place for the conclusion of this amazing game. For now, go say hello to Neoneko. Send all your love, spread joy. Have a great Thanksgiving, y'all, too. And I'll catch you guys next week when we wrap it. All right? Stay safe, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.